Welcome to Speak For Yourself. I'm Jason Whitlock. That's Marcellus Wiley, that dude. All right, coming up, we'll tell you if the Celtics are a real threat to the Warriors.
And I've got another installment of Dat Dudes Dudes, Emmy Award-winning Dat Dudes Dudes. But we start today with a Whitlock, like every day. What you got, big dog?
Oh, I got Vontaze Burfict. Can we stop the Vontaze Burfict hysteria, please? The shoulder and elbow Burfict threw at Pittsburgh receiver Antonio Brown over the weekend wasn't a reenactment of Jack Tatum's hit that paralyzed receiver Darryl Stingley 30 years ago in a preseason game. Virtually everyone has overreacted to Burfict's simple play. The Steelers' offensive linemen have called for Burfict to be suspended, and yesterday, former Browns offensive tackle and media golden boy Joe Thomas said this.
I don't know if this is a guy that can ever learn. Really, I think he should be suspended probably the rest of the season because nothing else has gotten through to him. And I don't know if he's getting many more chances to be able to continue his career in the NFL because he has clearly shown no matter what the NFL does to him, he will not change the way he's playing the game. And that is just not a player that you can allow on the field.
Suspended for the rest of the season for what? For playing football? Let's take a look at the play that briefly sent Antonio Brown into the concussion protocol. It's actually Bengals safety Jesse Bates, number 30, who delivers the helmet-to-helmet hit that dazed Brown. Burfict's shoulder and forearm did little to no damage. So let's stop the demonization of Burfict over the Brown hit. Let me be clear. I don't like Vontaze Burfict. I've said for years that Marvin Lewis and the Bengals should cut ties with Burfict. He's a dirty player, going all the way back to high school. In 2009, when facing future USC quarterback Matt Barkley, Burfict tried to take out Barkley's knees. During Burfict's college playing days at Arizona State, he couldn't control himself on the field. Refs flagged him for multiple personal fouls. His inability to play within the rules undermined his college career and caused him to fall in the NFL draft. While in the NFL, Burfict has surrendered $4 million in earnings due to fines and suspensions.
Lord.
But I have to give Burfict credit. So far, he hasn't been in trouble off the field, and he comes from very difficult circumstances. His father was a Los Angeles gang member and incarcerated for drug trafficking. It's clear Burfict has emotional issues stemming from his childhood. He loses his mind on the football field. Vontaze Burfict, though, is exactly who we thought he was. Rather than blame Burfict, why not blame Marvin Lewis and Bengals owner Mike Brown? If the league held Lewis and Brown responsible for Burfict's conduct, I guarantee you Burfict's behavior would dramatically improve. All right, joining the desk, two former NFL players, Brian Cox and Bucky Brooks. Marcellus, we'll start with you. I think we're going over the top here. I've got some sympathy for Vontaze Burfict. I think the criticism's over the top.
I have no sympathy for him. His reputation precedes him because his actions have given him this reputation. Chappelle's Show, man, he's a habitual line stepper. Like, he continues to be the guy that commits these acts. And this isn't his first time. This is not his second time. It's not his third time. It's not even his fourth time. At least his fifth time, he's been suspended twice for multiple violations, and then a 5-game reduced to a 3-game. And now we see this after all of that.
We see Jesse Bates go helmet to helmet on Antonio Brown.
We do, but we also see the intent, and we also see that this is the same victim and the same culprit that occurred last year when we saw them in the playoffs, but that time he did knock him out. So if I'm the NFL, I have to stop this right now. Because if you let Vontaze Burfict get away with this, it invites others.
A forearm.
A forearm. That's not a
Brian, please. Come on, Brian.
A forearm.
Please, Brian.
Knock you out.
I could not disagree anymore. Here's my point on the play. Everybody's blowing this play up. But at the end of the day, if AB goes down and doesn't fight for extra yards, none of this ever happens. Mm-hmm. Until I hear a whistle, I'm trying to knock you out, decapitate you, do whatever. This is not a dirty play. And I'm sorry, Joe Thomas, I love Joe Thomas. I was on the staff in Cleveland with him. But when you play ball until you hear a whistle. This is not it. So I'm not going to sit up here and play with a man's livelihood, especially since I was a guy like that. If Pittsburgh had issues with him, go get him on the bus. Go to his car and get him after the game. So it's easy that you can sit up and talk to the media talking about what a dirty player. But as I said when I was here last week, if I had issue with you, nobody was stopping me from coming to get you.
Brian, I expected that from you.
But that's it.
You can't see the forest from the trees, brother, because that's who you are. That's in your lens. That's how you get
The whistle
down.
hadn't blown
Hold
on,
on. Are we using arms and legs now?
Tell him to go down. If he don't want to get hit in the head,
If he doesn't go down, can you kick him? Can you kick him? No, you can't.
I would.
Can you throw it for him?
You can
Yeah,
throw a
yeah,
you can throw it for him.
Forearm to the dome?
You can finish him off. All he did was top him off. All he needs to do is go down. Look, wide receivers know there's a soft spot for you to land if you don't want to get hit. But if you're going to fight for yards, then it's the defensive job to knock him out. And even though we have these new rules or whatever, when the whistle is blown and the ball is teed up, you got to play football. He cannot go easy on AB. And also remember, the heated nature of this rivalry. It is personal. There are a couple games a year on the schedule that are personal. This is a personal game for the Cincinnati Bengals. We've seen how the Pittsburgh Steelers have escalated it on their side. Vontaze Burfict did his job.
And
if they want it,
and let me just add this point to it.
Y'all old school.
Let me add this point to it as well.
Old school.
How many defensive players, not even defensive players, how many players in the league has come out and say this league gone soft? There was just an offensive player complaining the other day about it. At what point can I be a football player and try to decleat you, try to decapitate you? Until I hear that whistle, I'm headhunting.
Have you ever heard of a penalty
That's a little
call?
strong.
No.
That's a little
Let him
strong.
keep digging this grave.
That's a little
Let him
strong,
keep digging,
bro.
That's
dog.
true, though. Because of the
not.
nature of the rivalry, what we talked about last week, there were going to be some things that were going to be suspect. That's not one of them. When you look at that picture,
Stop, Brian.
when you look at that picture,
Brian,
if
come on,
AB wants to go down, it's the number
even
call.
in a flipper, man.
Even in a rivalry, there's standards. There's
no
still
standards.
rules.
Ain't no
There's
standards.
still fines and penalties
Ain't
that
no
will be
standards.
enforced.
so
Ain't no
if Vontaze Burfict went at him like he went at Matt Leinart, we're okay with that?
No. Look,
So at some point, I got to be able to hit you. I can't hit you high. I can't hit you low. Where am I supposed to hit you while we're going full speed?
have you ever heard of something? I'm sure you probably were certainly a multiple infraction, unnecessary roughness. You ever heard of unnecessary roughness?
Did they get a penalty on that?
No, and that's the point. So even without a penalty in that moment, we have to still go out there and look at this and say, who is the guy? And what is his intent
on,
in this
man.
moment? And
No.
what was he trying to do?
That's
not
Burfict.
football.
That's Burfict hysteria that's been driven by people that don't know anything about football. And again, you do know a lot, and you played the game.
No, I get it.
I
I
can't
get it.
toss you into that bucket. But we've all gone overboard, and we're looking for the bad guy. The guy threw an elbow. I'll say this. This is my. If Joe Thomas and everybody wants to, and you want to jump on some pedestal and be better than everybody. Hold Marvin Lewis and Mike Brown accountable, not Vontaze Burfict.
Why?
No, I'm saying, if you're going to get upset, find them, and I guarantee you his play will change.
But why?
Yeah.
Why
Because,
what?
I'm not with
because
that.
to me, name one issue that the guy has gotten into trouble off the field.
No, we're talking about controlling his on-field
I'm talking
behavior.
about playing football. You expect me somehow in a game of emotion to hit that switch and turn it off and be the nice guy.
A lot of guys do,
Yeah,
Brian.
you can have a
That's a
gauge.
lot of guys.
You can have a
That's a
gauge.
lot of guys. But when I'm playing football, again, my mindset and the way I play comes from Joe Green. And if you know anything about Joe Green, they didn't call him mean for no reason. That guy would elbow people, punch people. He taught me not to complain if I was getting held. He said, punch him in the ribs. So I became my own official when I played football. And all I'm saying, if all these tough guys, these offensive linemen, talking all this trash about what is happening and who should be doing, go do something about it.
Hold on, man. Won't you evolve, brother? I mean,
no
the
evolvement.
game has evolved. We used
I
to
see
head
football-
slap.
I see
And
football
me and
the
Joe
way I
Green
see
used
it.
to head slap. And now go out there and try
I
head
see
slap. See what
football.
happens to you.
I got away with it a few times.
You got away with it, but it wasn't the decorum.
I see football as still a gladiator sport, and it's cleaned up when it comes to the quarterbacks. It's cleaned up when it comes to the head-to-head contact. It's cleaned up in some areas. But there's some plays that you have to play football until that whistle blows. And until that whistle blows, I'm trying to do
I want to circle back to my point, and I'll leave you out of this, Brian. Listen, if they want to control Vontaze Burfict, why not go after Mike Brown and Marvin Lewis? Because as I sat here and thought about this deal, I was like, Vontaze Burfict, he's a dirty player. He could hurt somebody. And to me,
Come on,
the
man.
Bengals
Come on.
and Marvin Lewis, they should be held responsible if that happens.
They could be held responsible, but here's what I'll tell you about the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals have built a team that is a contender by taking gambles on character risks. This is what they've always done. When they built the team up, when they were winning with Ocho Cinco and TJ Hushmanzada, they had a bunch of questionable character guys on that team. And the reason they've been able to accumulate those guys, because they take guys that other teams won't take. And Marvin Lewis has done a good job of corralling those guys and getting those guys to move in the right direction, which is why they've won a lot of games. And if you look at that team and you look at it objectively, they're the team that should come out of the AFC North. They're the team that should beat the Pittsburgh Steelers when it's all said and done because they have more talent. And one thing that you can't legislate out the game is the intimidation factor. You can't hit people high over the middle of the field. Well, the one thing you know when you play Cincinnati, Vontaze Burfict is lurking. And that is going to dissuade some people from lurking, from going across the middle. If I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, I talk to them, but then I tell them, hey, bro, keep knocking.
My thing is, we saying we should go after Marvin Lewis and go after the owner. What has the man done off the field to disrespect?
No, this is about on the field. This is about on the
within
field.
the organization.
Go play ball.
He's given up
Football
$4
isn't
million in fines for illegal hits.
and
How does that affect anybody but him? That's $4 million of his
and
dollars.
suspensions. The time missed is hurting the team.
That's $4 million of his dollars.
But he's still missing time from the
Okay,
team. And if
but
you're a valuable piece of the team, we need you, bro.
Okay, but I'm saying this is not one of those things, in my opinion.
I agree. This hit is not it,
There
but
are
I'm
some
saying
things,
there are
but we're talking about go after the organization.
We're talking about
go after
safety.
the coach.
The league has prioritized safety, and they put all the burden on the players about safety. I'm saying let's move it off the field if you really want to see things change. Dock Marvin Lewis's pay. Find Mike
Jason,
Brown.
it's never come from the top. I played with Rodney Harrison, one of my best boys playing, and it never came from the coaching staff. It never came from the organization to either put gas on that fire or to pump the brakes on his actions. It never is legislated from those surrounding. Rodney was out there doing what Rodney wanted to do, and we all had to either deal with it or just get out the way because Rodney was going to give you a message in every single play he was out there. But when you say accountability and it's coming from up top, I just never seen it happen. I played with one of them.
Never seen it happen, but it needs to start rather than climbing into the player's pocket.
I think that we, as the media, don't necessarily recognize how fast things happen out there. Sometimes on some of these hits, it's not intent that I'm going to headhunt. It's how fast it's moving, and that's where I find myself. To me, at some point, you have to be a football player. I agree there have been some things that have been questionable in his past on the field where he's headhunting and some of the things that he's done. But you're talking about a man that's not been in trouble off the field, so we're talking about football. At what point are we going to allow physical football to be physical
I
football?
love you too much, but stop the fallacy. I'm tired of us highly trained athletes saying, man, it happens so fast we don't
Now,
get
you
it.
played up there with the big boys. You wasn't nowhere back there with them.
Hold on, number
Speed
one
of the game
defense.
happened.
Number one defense, and thank you.
But
When
you
y'all
wasn't
came
back
in,
there
y'all
how
felt
fast.
it too. Here's the thing, Brian, admit this. Have you ever been on the football field and then you see somebody that's coming and you know him beyond the game? Like, that's your boy.
I ain't never pulled up.
Oh, I ain't say you pulled up. Have you ever? I said, has this ever happened on the football field? Because I certainly heard it. Oh, man, you lucky, boy. I could have got you so good.
No.
You ain't never heard that?
I'm saying.
You know why?
I'm
Because
saying,
there are times when you know, I could do this a different way. We think faster than we moving, bro. Come on now.
Ask Shannon Sharp. One time I got him real good. Ask him if I pulled up.
No,
Ask Eric Dickerson if I
we also
pulled
got
up
the big
when I
brother,
got
little
him
brother
good.
rivalry. We trying to kill you, but there are times when you're like, I can manipulate
I
this
can't
moment.
speak to that. I ain't pulling up.
I just think the game moves so fast that it's hard to legislate some of that contract out there.
All right, welcome back, Whitlock and Wiley.
Yeah.
All right, Brian Cox and Bucky Brooks are also back. You all know Marcellus is that dude. Now he's going to show us the best plays from big guys around football. It's time for Dat Dude's Dudes. Marcellus, what you got?
According to Brian Cox, I'm soft too, but let that live. It's time for that dudes, and we're gonna go in the trenches with the big uglies, not just Jason and I. But let's start with number 3. We're going to high school, y'all. We have our first high school player, Suava Poti. St. John Bosco and Mater Dei go at it, and you can see from St. John Bosco, look at how Poti's shoulder gets into this. This is a stunt right now from the linebacker and Pote. You got to get 59 and you got to get that shoulder. You got to pin that shoulder right there. 59, you're in bad position. He got your shoulder pinned. So now it's a 2-on-1 situation. Oh, you're supposed to get some help from your tackle. Tackle's supposed to peel out on the linebacker, but instead he doesn't. And that 2-on-1 turns into I split both of you guys in perfect position. Now you're going to hear them all scream out, help! What's wrong? What happened? You know what? 3 guys trying to block 1, and none of them doing their job. So I see you, Suava. You out there, you're our number 3 dat dude of the week. Let's go to number 2. Let's go to collegiate level. Oh, yeah. Glenn Logan. Look out. Look out. You know what it is, LSU. And you can see Glenn Logan. Nice inside move. Ooh, got him, too. Sack on Jake Fromm. And this is how he gets there. First, he's going up against number 77, K. Mays, lined up at the position. And look at this. Ooh, you see that little swim move right there? Now, once again, we got you pinned. Once in that position, you got to clear him. That's what Coach always said. Clear him. You clear him with that off arm. And now we got a pin position once again. And even if it's a double team, it doesn't matter as long as you get that clear. And now you can see him get him into that egg roll position. You can't do this in the NFL. You better have some fun while you're in college doing this. Egg rolling guys head first into the turf. I see you, Glenn Logan.
That almost looked like a Deacon Jones head slap to start.
They can't do that in today's NFL. Number 1, that dude of the week, Frank Clark. Frank the Tank. Oh, my God. Defensive player of the week. NFC, 2.5 sacks. Woo-hoo! Do you see how he ran over Colton Miller, your number 1 draft choice? Let's see how he did it. First thing first, Colton Miller, you got to use your arms for not chicken wings, but to punch a guy. So you sitting out there in the worst position possible. Look at this leg position. John Gruden like, I ain't not draft this dude for this. Number 1 pick, you bum. Right here, see my prey, Derek Carr. Come to me. I know it's going down right now. And this is the worst thing if you're a Raiders fan to see over and over again. Derek Carr going down for the sack. And Frank Clark, Frank the Tank, you're our number 1 dat dude of the week.
Michigan in the house. Michigan player, former Wolverine.
Respect.
All right, that was awesome, Marcellus. Now let's move from some dudes to some duds, the New York Giants.
Oh, man.
At 1-5, the Giants have been absolute disaster so far, with Odell Beckham Jr. calling out the team in the media and Eli Manning looking older by the day. It's gotten so bad that owner John Mara threw himself into the fray yesterday, calling out Odell for talking too much and actually coming to Eli's defense.
We still believe in him, but, you know, everybody needs to do their jobs in order for us to be successful, and right now that's not happening. I know he's the punching bag right now, but a lot of guys need to play better when you're 1-5. It's not just him.
I'm the crazy person that agrees with John Mara. I'm not jumping off the Eli Manning bandwagon just yet. Their offensive line is a problem. The lack of protection is a problem. I get where John Mara is coming from. With that blocking up front, Johnny Unitas, Roger Staubach, and Peyton Manning couldn't do anything.
Well, look, if Eli Manning's the punching bag, then John Mara's punch drunk, because the way that he's talking about this team, if I'm sitting there, if I'm playing well on this team, if I'm Saquon Barkley or anybody else, I'm like, we need names and numbers, coach. You need to start pointing fingers. We need to hear that from up top, owner. But if you're not, it's a smart play. I think he's already saying, I'm not going to touch the Eli Manning conversation ever again. He got burned last year when he benched Eli Manning, and the public backlash and criticism made him say, Eli is our starter once again. But I think behind closed doors, the decision has been made. Eli's going to quietly go off into the sunset. But before that, I am not touching that hornet's nest, and I'm not going to go out there and chastise Eli Manning.
Well, I agree with you, but why is the owner saying it and not the head coach? Everybody's speaking on the matter except for the guy that should be, that's the leader of the team that we haven't heard from on Eli, except for the fact that he said we still believe in Eli. A demand or something was told to him when he took the job. Like, to me, the owner doesn't have a choice but to say we believe in Eli. What else can he say? Oh, he's a bum, we need to get somebody. Who's he going to get?
Yeah.
It's too late in the season. He got to ride that wave and let Eli make his $20 million and ride off into the sunset. And I've always been, hard on the Mannings, but Peyton Manning, I could never say it when he played, but he was much better than I ever thought. I don't think Eli is as good as people give him credit for.
Yeah, as advertised, right?
So I apologize to Peyton, but Eli is what we thought.
So when Eli retires, you going to apologize to him too? No. I mean, okay, just making sure.
I mean, he's Roy Jones Jr. right now. That's who he is. He's the old Roy Jones Jr. We are still holding on to the nostalgia of him being a two-time Super Bowl MVP, but Eli Manning can't play anymore. He hasn't been able to play really over the past 3 or 4 years. And Odell Beckham Jr. really saved his career when he was drafted in 2014 because it sparked that offense. But when you really look at him, he's a limited passer. He can't push the ball down the field. They can't really open up the offense because the things that his playmakers around him do well, he can't do. And when you look at him, he's scared to death of the pocket. He's scared. Whenever he gets close, he falls down. And I know his brother, Peyton Manning, they did that so they didn't take hits. But for him, it's over. And everyone has tried to tell the Giants that Eli Manning can't play. Jerry Reese, Ben McAdoo, then you have the players. At some point, they got to listen to it. Everybody.
Who's worse, Bucky, honestly? And I know you watch a lot of film. Who's playing worse, the offensive line or the quarterback for the Giants?
I mean, they're all bad. The offensive line certainly
Who's
hasn't
worse?
done them in favor. Eli Manning is worse.
Than the offensive line.
Eli Manning is worse.
Wow.
Eli Manning is worse. Eli Manning doesn't have a punch. Like, there's nothing that he does that strikes fear in the defense. And even though they're bad up front, we blamed everybody. So we got Eric Flowers out. We put new people in front of him. We've done all the other stuff. At some point, we got to look at number 10.
Yeah, and you know what? To his brother's credit, when we used to face the Colts, and many a times, I mean, Tariq Glenn aside, they didn't have great guys up front. But you know who was the best offensive lineman there? Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning
And his
got rid of the
smarts
ball.
and his arm and getting rid of the ball. You have your best pass rush move. Peyton Manning's like, no, that didn't work. And he was just smart enough to manipulate the defense. Eli's even lost that trait. But beyond the physical issues that he has now, he can't push the ball down the field. He can't strike fear. He can't throw it outside the numbers. You can't even manipulate the defense anymore because you're not smart enough or you're not courageous enough in the pocket to just get rid of it.
The word you just said, and Bucky alluded to it earlier, courageous. He's afraid. And he's trying to – it goes back to what I said about Dan Marino a long time ago. Dan at about 44 said, I could still throw the ball with anybody in the league. I just don't want to get hit. Eli has to come to the place where he realizes that it's over. And he doesn't want to take a hit. He's never been the toughest guy. And he's invented the hook slide. He'd throw the ball with his back turned and would complete some of them, but he's never been courageous in the pocket, and it's starting to show.
Bottom line, I think what y'all are saying, and I'm not even going to disagree anymore, is just like there's so much money to be made by playing. That's why he's out there.
Right.
It's about the $20 million he's collecting. If it were back in your day, he would have walked away if he's getting paid $2 million or whatever. But at $20 million, and they're going to let you keep sitting
I
out
don't think
there
it's just
collecting
money
that
with
check.
him. I think that legacy matters. I think protecting
He's
that legacy.
tarnishing his legacy.
Well, protected in the sense that he's a Manning. Beyond two-time Super Bowl MVP, and I'm heralded as a New York Giant, I'm also a Manning. Like, they don't want to let that go because once he lets it go, what's next in terms of that? So there's a little bit of that brotherly pressure, that family pressure that keeps him going back out there because obviously his heart and his spirit is not being
I'm not a Hall of Fame voter, but I'm in the media. He's hurting his Hall of Fame
yeah,
legacy
definitely.
with the way this is ending.
I don't think he could hurt his legacy because those 2 Super Bowl championships in New York and the numbers that he put up. I
Looks
don't
like he
think
got
could-
carried there. All right, let's move to the NBA, and we're joined now by NBA champion Steven Jackson, who slandered me yesterday on Twitter.
For the culture.
We're going to get into
for the
that on
culture.
Instagram. We're going to get into that shortly, but all right, let's move to the NBA where the regular season
slander.
tipped off last night
Got him.
with a showdown between two of the East's exciting young teams, the Celtics and the Sixers. Boston was clearly the better team, pulling away to win by 18, even with an off night from Kyrie Irving. Afterwards, Charles Barkley actually said the Celtics have more talent than the Warriors, but he still wasn't convinced they could take down the champs.
What's to keep Golden State from another title? Let's put it that way, Chuck.
Injuries, hurricanes, tornadoes, snowstorms, man-made, some man-made, Chernobyl.
Does anybody know what a tornado is?
that Auburn.
Barkley's my guy.
Auburn.
Look, I think I listened to Charles last night, and he actually went on to say that he thinks Boston's talent is going to be an issue for the Celtics. He thinks that too many minutes to manage for Brad Stevens. I disagree. What I saw from Boston last night is a team that I believe what Charles said is just as talented in a different way than Boston. and it's going to be if Boston makes it to the finals, which I think they will, I think there'll be a real problem for the Golden State Warriors.
I think they're going to be a tough out. I think he's right. I think in terms of just talent in the vacuum, they're I would say more talented. They're just redundant and excessive at a time. So when there's only one ball, we always hear that cliche, what comes into play is you can have a lot of talent. There's a minimum threshold. But then after that is all that necessary, because if you can't manage the egos, you can't manage the personalities, everyone who's walking in has a chip on their shoulder. Kyrie heard trade talks every day he was out last year. Gordon Hayward's trying to prove I'm back. You got a lot of Jason Tatum's like, I've been working out with Kobe. I am not trying to hear that I get limited time. There's a lot to manage with all that excess talent, and I'm with Barkley. I think they're more talented, but they still come up short.
Definitely more talented team. I think this is the only team in the NBA that has 10 guys on the roster that can start on any other team. They're that deep. And I think what separates them and why we don't have to worry about guys worrying about shots or guys worrying about getting their numbers, the coach does a great job of making everybody feel confident and a great job of making everybody feel like they're the number one player. Like even last night, you see Kyrie didn't get going. He didn't get frustrated. He started giving the ball to Jason Tatum and other guys because he understands that he's not going to be the star player every night. And you got to credit Brad Stevens for giving all those guys confidence, even the guys that's coming off the bench, to play like starters, and that's why they had success last year.
Yeah, but the problem is adversity. It's great when we win by 18.
Right.
Oh, yeah, you made me feel like the man. Oh, we did it all in a winning fashion for a winning situation. When we hit that wall, when we lost 2 of 3 or something, then everybody's like, we don't want to hear that I'm the man if I can't go out there and have impact and make this game a success. So what's going to happen when they hit that wall of adversity, which every team faces?
Well, I think they went through it last year when guys went down. First game of the season, they went through it. With Gordon Hayward going down, they had to figure that out the rest of the season. Then Kyrie go down.
But that's
they
different,
had to figure it out.
Because then 2 of the stars leave, now you have a void to fill. What if everyone's there, we're already maxed out, and we're losing in that capacity?
That's not going to happen in the East.
You don't think?
Brad Stevens is too good.
Yep.
Boston's too talented. Look, Barkley's narrative that there could be some time management issues, I think is false, because I think this group for this year is going to be 1,000% bought in. They have a chance to do something very special. I think they're the one team that's going to take the regular season very seriously, and then when they get into the postseason, it's going to be all about making history and taking down this team that's going for a three-peat. I just don't see the egos being a problem. Jason Tatum, Terry Rozier, Jaylen Brown, the story's out on them. Regardless of what their numbers look like, people know these dudes can play.
Right.
And they will get paid when it's their time to get paid. I just don't see the egos being an adversity issue for the Celtics.
I don't either, and they're playing for each other. And, people talk about what Jason Tatum feels like is his team. I can tell you right now, Kyrie and Jason Tatum have a great relationship. Right. He wouldn't want another person to shine more than Jason Tatum. But I honestly think Gordon Hayward's going to be the odd man out. Because if you see, the first sub that came out the game was Gordon Hayward. The lineup was Rozier at the 1, Kyrie at the 2, Tatum, Brown, and Horford. I think they're going to finish a lot of games like that.
Maybe that's just because it's his first game back and, you're on that pitch count, something like that. But I would say this. I don't think it's the ego issue, but watch for this. Only Kyrie's been to the finals, so everyone's saying we're going to mail him into the finals, but you only have one guy with experience on that level. That may be the reason they really come up short.
All right, to another team that's had everyone talking this offseason, the Minnesota Timberwolves, who start their season tonight against the Spurs. After some recent dramatics from disgruntled Jimmy Buttler, the team's owner, Glenn Taylor, just confirmed he is working on a trade to move Buttler and that the All-Star has agreed to play until the deal is done. Last night, T-Wolves legend Kevin Garnett said he feels Butler's pain.
Totally understand him. I totally get it. And he's dealing with Glenn, who doesn't know about basketball.
Glenn Taylor.
Great.
Yeah.
Probably
well,
is.
I think we wasn't concerned about the Taylor part.
I know. He knows how to make money, but he don't know anything about basketball.
I kind of agree with Kevin Garnett here. The owner's got a naive approach that someone that knows the marriage is ending, or someone that knows, I got this new job and I'm just a short-time employee here, that's an employee I don't really want to deal with. I know Jimmy Butler's going to play hard and all that, but I don't want to deal with short-time employees. I know when I've given my 2-week notice, it might as well have been a day 1 notice because for the next 2 weeks, I'm mentally checked out.
Yeah, your head's in the parking lot already, right? But you're still at practice. I get it. I think Jimmy Butler, look, there's no I in team, but there is a me. And every time you step into a team concept, a team framework, you always still are thinking about yourself. You think about your contract terms, you think about your opportunities, your touches, whatever it may be. So now he has narrowed his focus to saying, I'm caring about Jimmy Butler, and I'm going to give y'all tough love. And as my coaches always say, tough love, I'm going to keep it 100 with you because either you going to hate me or it's going to motivate you. Simply put. And I think that he's going to go in there and he doesn't care how they take it because he's not caring how tomorrow looks for these guys. But I think he's still going to do Jimmy Butler to the 100th degree.
Well, I talked to him, and it seemed like you talked to him because that's exactly what he said. I'm going out there and play. I'm going to be a professional. I'm going to go out there and try to win games. And if I get traded, then that's what happens. But I'm going to be a professional. And I like what KG said because it's probably not that owner. It's a whole bunch of owners that don't know nothing about basketball. Hell, it's some coaches that play baseball. Now they NBA coaches. So some of the coaches don't know about basketball. So I understand that totally. But Jimmy, he's in a tough situation. But at the end of the day, he just want to win, and I understand that.
Okay, you've talked to Jimmy, but how's he going to handle this situation? He's already explained to everybody that he thinks, Cat needs to grow up, Andrew Wiggins ain't tough. And so when he starts seeing signs of this during games, is he going to check these guys because he's a short-term employee and he did it to him in practice? Mm-hmm. Is he going to check them in the game, on the court? That, to me, where the real problems could creep into this team, that could be an issue.
Well, he's done that. And even the owner questioned Wiggins before he gave him the contract out in the media.
We need a meeting.
We need a meeting. We need to know you're really with us. So you can't blame Jimmy if the owners are doing it. But at the end of the day, he's going to check them because his passion for the game. He's going to, when they do something wrong and they're not playing well, he's going to get into it with them. So that's why they need to move him so it won't be an issue.
Not everybody can handle getting checked publicly.
Right.
You can, and again, this is why I think the owner's being naive and maybe even the coach in terms of you start checking Andrew Wiggins, and let's say he's as soft as everybody says he is. Let's say that he actually did call his brother and say, you know what? I ain't got no heart, so I better not question Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Remember somebody did that over Instagram?
Somebody I know right here.
There's an Instagram assassin out there.
He is lethal.
But again, you could stunt Wiggins' growth by leaving him here with Jimmy Butler, who may just play too rough.
Yeah, but just imagine Jimmy at his best and Wiggins at his best with Cat on that team. Mm-hmm. They can make a lot of noise in the West, and I think a lot of people see that. I even think Tibbs see it. But they got to go out there and do it. We can talk about it till we black and blue in the face, but if Wiggins don't get no heart, if he don't go out there and play harder, if he don't reach his potential, which we all know he has, top draft pick, he's super athletic, has every skill in the book. He just got to get it out of him. If you can't get it out of him, then it's kind of hard to respect him.
I respect the owner for saying, hey, I tried. I had a meeting with Wiggins. I tried to get this same conversation going. Now I'm going to let you be my enforcer, Jimmy Butler. Not by design, but that's just the circumstance. So, look, it's a little Jedi mind trick going on right here. He's like, because I believe every single player that makes it has a dog in them. Now, there are different types of dogs. There's a dog that sits there and barks and is not going to bite. There's a dog that's going to lay there and say, do what you want to do, and soon you think you got away, oh, I'm in you. Yep. And there's all types, and maybe Jimmy Butler and the way he's going to approach them with the tough love is going to get whatever type of dog that Wiggins has in him is finally going to come out. Maybe it's more bark, maybe it's a little more bite than we've seen.
Any chance, Steve, and we'll end on this, 2 weeks into this, the Timberwolves are 6-1 or something, 3 weeks into it, and looking any chance this works out and Jimmy Butler actually stays in Minnesota?
That's why I tell people all the time, you're one of the smartest people I know. 6-1, they'll think about it. They'll think about making it work because they're winning. Winning fixes winning fixes everything. Winning fixes everything. Because at the end of the day, he's gonna get paid regardless.
All right, welcome back. Whitlock and Wiley. Steven Jackson is back. Steven, you're going to participate in a treat. Our social media segment. I hate social media. That's why I have a problem with you. But Darnell Smith, our social media manager, is here to tell us what's going on out there in the Twitterverse and Instagramverse.
Yep.
What you got, Darnell?
Hey, man, we're going to start off with some NBA, where Kevin Durant and the Warriors won their season debut, and KD posted a photo with his new championship ring saying, One down, 81 more. What a night. But what surprised people was Durant's brother, Tony, chiming in. Yes, sir, brother. Filling the hand up before we get out of here. Everyone's been speculating about KD leaving Golden State, and this just adds fuel to the fire. You read anything in his brother's comment?
Absolutely. That, again, I think Kevin Durant's going to end up with the New York Knicks. I think he's out of there after this year. Going to build his own team, his own legacy.
I don't think you need to read anything into it. Just read it.
Right.
Damn.
Say you straight up.
But I love that pronoun choice. My sister does this a lot, too. We. I'll be like, wait a minute. How many sacks? How many three-pointers? Like,
on with me,
yeah, you putting me into situations, sister. So, yeah, I read it.
I talked to KD, and his brother was talking about retirement, about getting rings before he's retired. He wasn't talking about the season, but KD did say, I can leave if I choose to. So keep that in mind. He can leave, and it is true.
Negotiations. I hear it.
All right, Darnell, what's next?
All right, we're going to move over to Instagram, where our guy Stack posted a clip from yesterday's thinking cap conversation about LeBron's place in African-American culture, commenting, Whitlock said hip-hop is dead. They ain't making money like they used to. My reply, got a lot of game to give. You may not like it, but you're going to respect it. But then, look who popped up in the comments. Kevin Durant, who chimed in, big fella out of touch. Don't mind him, LOL. Stack, are you glad you got KD on your side?
That's my little brother. What people need to understand is I'm a basketball player. I'm just not a street cat. So basketball players relate to me. I speak for them, okay? That's my people.
Defend yourself.
That's my people.
That's family.
Defend yourself.
Why don't you defend sports the way you do hip-hop? This was about hip-hop, and you took me out of context.
Yes.
I never said hip-hop was dead. I said the music industry's dead. They don't make money like they used to.
That's why I posted it, because you said that on the post. You said hip-hop is dead, and they don't make money like
I
LeBron.
didn't say hip-hop was dead. I said the music industry's dead. It is. The internet killed.
Technicalities.
They don't lie. Video don't lie.
Film don't lie.
Video doesn't lie.
Did you say it, Whit?
I didn't say hip-hop.
I don't remember now. I don't want to
Oh,
get
I'm going to
sniped.
check into it.
Regardless, I said Tracy McGrady's in there, Kevin Durant's in there, the white dude that plays black on the
Sean
Twitter,
King.
Sean King.
Leave that man alone. That's the homie. Leave him alone, man. Stop that.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, where is my Twitter off, man?
You got to Instagram him off. He
Man,
IG'd up.
we got to take this thing from him, man. We got to take this thing.
He going crazy with it.
You need a case of this to go home with. You took me out of context because here's my whole problem, Stack. You said on the show yesterday, and I see all these athletes, they get all defensive about hip-hop, and I never see them get defensive about the sports world and sports culture. Everybody's into hip-hop culture, but sports culture, as my argument is, has been better for black men than hip-hop.
And you might be right, but you know who defends our culture more? Hip-hop. The sports don't defend our culture as much as hip-hop does. Hip-hop speaks on everything we go through, and that's how we hear everything that's going on in our culture, through hip-hop.
Keep it real, Stack.
That's real.
I listen to hip-hop, and I'm older. I'm much older than you.
Yeah.
I've been listening to hip-hop longer than you. Hip-hop does a lot of denigration of our culture, too.
That's true. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to deny that.
Hey, I just checked the tape. You said music industry. He didn't say hip-hop industry. He didn't say just hip-hop.
Music industry.
The music industry as a whole is taking a hit. Right.
Okay, when you say music industry to me, I'm thinking hip-hop. I'm not thinking country and all of the other stuff.
But hold on for a second. Hold on.
I ain't thinking all that, you know what I mean? I'm thinking,
Marcellus, you just dodged. What do you think of my argument? Because you a DJ and you a hip-hop
they
guy.
don't make money. They ain't making money like they used to.
What
and that's why I
argument?
corrected you
Which
at.
argument? So I could
They're
be
not
good on
When he
IG.
said that they don't make money like
No,
they
no.
used to.
I'm on
They
a
don't.
different topic now. I'm back on that topic. You just dodged and Marcellus just dodged.
Okay, what is it?
Why don't athletes defend sports culture the way we defend hip-hop culture? Sports culture's been better for us than hip-hop. Period. Financially, in every way possible.
Well, one, it's easier to defend hip-hop culture if you're a hip-hop artist or anybody around it because it's the narration of our experience. Like, they're talking about exactly what we went through. Not everybody can relate to sports culture. You know
Quit
that for a
lying.
fact. No,
exactly what we went through.
Yes.
There is a rapper for every experience. You don't think so?
Yes.
What you want? Backpack?
Some of it,
you
no.
want underground?
No.
You
Some
want
of
what?
it goes
Gangster?
way too far.
I didn't say-
All these studio gangsters, all
no, it's a lot of them.
We all
That's
act
a lot of them.
we act like the only thing going on in the hood is
Hold
something
on.
negative and somebody
I
getting
didn't
shot
say
and
that
dealing
they-
dope.
I didn't
There's
say
more
that they
going
were
on
the-
in the
No.
hood. than that.
say they
That's
were
the
the
only thing that
character.
they show.
Right.
That's the only thing that they show. They don't promote the songs when people talking about giving back and what's going on good in the hood. They always promote the bad songs.
Yeah.
That's
And
why
I
it
didn't
comes
say
out
every
like that.
rapper went through that experience. I'm saying every experience that rapper is talking about, somebody has lived that.
Exactly.
Vicariously, maybe it's I'm living it through you, but they're speaking about experiences that we all went through. You get to a professional sports league, very few people even understand that experience, and a lot of times they get lost in translation when you try to take them into the locker room or on the court.
Yeah.
People don't get it. So,
But if you listen to every rapper and wanted to believe their lyrics, then you really lost.
Oh, man, yeah,
You
yeah.
really lost because 99% of rap's are lies.
We're running out of time. I hate to throw this curveball, but Darnell's the only guy under 40 on this set. Darnell's from my hood, by the way. We grew up in
yeah?
the same
Naptown.
apartment. Went to my high school, went to Ball State.
Yes, sir.
You got a final thought on any of this discussion? Just a final thought. Can you what's your take?
I don't think the music industry has died, first of all. I mean, obviously, I know you old school, so there's certain artists that you grew up with, and it has changed, but it hasn't died. Like Stack mentioned yesterday, a lot of artists, Lil Baby, he's on top, Migos, Drake.
Some guys we would never listen
Never
to.
even heard of.
Oh, yeah.
But they making money.
Oh, yeah, but the economy certainly has taken a decline. Let's just respect that. It's not the same music industry.
Darnell, you're supposed to agree with me off top.
Oh, man.
Thank you, Steven.
I'm keeping it real.
All right, today we're talking Vontaze Burfict, who is taking heat for a hit on Antonio Brown last Sunday, with multiple people calling for him to be suspended. I think this is crazy, but what I'm really shocked by is the difference between my rating and your rating. I have him at a 61.
Okay.
You got him like 11,
got him
62, I'm
62,
sorry.
yep.
62, you got him like 10, 11 points
I'm
higher.
at 73, like he is. I got him at an all-star status. Look at, first of all, I agree with most of yours except that character. Ooh, that character's low. But look at this. 21-16, you got to respect the guy, what he does in terms of what he does on the field. But 25 authenticity, 11 character, a little higher than you. You had him at a 2?
2 character,
How you have
yeah.
a dude who's never been arrested at a 2? How you gonna have a dude who went undrafted and became a Pro Bowler, became a name, like damn near household name? People know who Vontaze Burfict is, and from undrafted status to that means you're about your business. You got high character to become that guy.
Listen, I've been defending Vontaze Burfict for the past few days.
Doesn't sound like it.
But when it comes to character, Marcellus, my God, the guy's
What's he
been playing dirty on the football field since high school.
Yeah.
They got videotape of him against Matt Barkley in high school games. He had all kinds of problems on the field at Arizona State. I mean,
Look, I play with great guys who have great character, but on the field, you don't want to be around them. And that's Rodney Harrison's for one, as an example. Great character, great guy, never been in trouble. But guess what? On the field, to the echo of the whistle. So, look, I don't like Vontaze Burfict on the field. I would not want to play against him because he's going to take me to a dark place. Then we both going to be in there getting it in. And that's not a good thing for the NFL. But character, got to give him some more love than that, man. The dude's never been in trouble.